click on that pencil, that's your drawing tool. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions during the first part of my little talk here. This is going to be turbo fast. We've got 25 minutes, and you don't have to remember every single thing that I tell you right now, because there is a micro course that is I'm going to share with you all at the end. And you all actually are the first people to get sort of a sneak peek of this course. It is right now at the point of final review before it's published. So you all get basically exclusive access to it. So good for you in terms of showing up. You get kind of a special treat there. My name is Kim Calebs. I am an instructional designer with KCTCS Online. And we are going to be talking today about making a stellar course, MSC. And each of these letters is going to be meaningful as we go through this process. All right, this is going to be a really nice mnemonic device for you all in terms of thinking of 3 things that you can do when you approach your course design. So you go to bake a cake. And you'll notice here I got lots of different cakes for all skill levels. I wanted to represent everybody wherever they are in their baking ability. You want to bake a cake. And you've got your ingredients, you know, your milk, your eggs, your utensils, everything that you need. And I have a question for you. Where do you find those ingredients? Where do you find all this stuff? And I do want to tell you, there are absolutely no gotcha trick questions. No trick questions at all in the entire presentation that I'm doing. Okay, some of these answers are going to seem obvious, and that's because they are. You can feel free to type your answer in the chat there. Are your eggs and your milk in the basement? Are your dry goods up in the attic? Are your utensils back in your backyard in the garden shed? Where do you find everything? And I'll give you all a second to answer that. Thank you. Yes, everything is in the kitchen. Okay, everything is right there where you need it. You've got a task at hand, a goal that you want to accomplish, and you go to one place to get that done. Well, that comes to our first concept, which is modules. Same basic concept. Each module is a self-contained unit that contains all the stuff a student would need to do in order to complete that learning sequence. You know, the lessons that are included, any direct instruction you want to do, the assessments that you provide, practice, all of it lives within this discrete unit called a module. All right, you can see we've got 4 of them listed here, from 00 start here, 01 introductions, 02 and over, and 03 applying the ECP. You'll also notice that they are their due dates are given, so you can kind of get a sense that these are indeed in sequential order. All right, so the first mnemonic we have is that M, and M stands for modules. Next, I want you all to think about the first day of class in an in-person setting. Okay, what are some of the things that you go over on that first day of class? And again, just type these in the chat, and they can be just short, sweet statements. But just typically, what do you cover when your students come in for the first day? Yep, you cover the syllabus. You welcome them, absolutely. You set expectations, and you're there in person, able to convey those and convey the tone. You go over the talent calendar. Tina, that's perfect. You're creating that supportive, friendly environment. You're there as a in your physical aspect, really helping students to see who you are as a human being and know that they can feel comfortable working with you, and really just that they know you're there. Well, let's think about our online students. They don't get that in-person experience, okay? So if we don't do something to the best of our ability to try to replicate or make an equivalent experience for them, This is what their online courses are going to feel like. It's going to feel like walking into a completely empty classroom and not knowing what you're supposed to do, where you're supposed to go, who's even leading the class. But luckily, we have a really nice strategy. Okay, here's where your drawing tool comes in. And again, no trick questions. This is that course again. Tell me, you can use your drawing tool and you can circle it, you can draw an arrow, you can underline it. If you were a student who was brand new to this course, the very first time you log in, where would you go? Where would you begin? Awesome, you all are finding it. That's right, start here. We know it's the start here because it's clearly labeled start here. It's near the very top of the course. I include a community discussion board in all my courses, and those just stay open the entirety of the course. So typically the start here is the second. It falls right under that discussion board. Awesome, you all are doing awesome. All right, so our next mnemonic device in MSC is S for start here. So we've got module, start here, and then one more. Whoa, I skipped one. You're getting a clue. Okay. Don't worry so much about reading the words on here. The words are the same on the page on the left and the page on the right. These are tips for making a Word document accessible, okay? Exact same verbiage, but I would like to know if you would, again, use your drawing tool and check or make an X, which of these would you find easier to make sense of? Let's say you were trying to make a document more accessible. Which of these would be easier to use? Yay, I love the hearts and the smiley faces. Yes, the one on the right, because it's chunked into manageable bits of information. And that's really all that chunking is organizing information into smaller units that are easier for your working memory to process. Okay, so two manifestations of the exact same information. All we've done is add some headings and some formatting, and all of a sudden it's a completely different experience for the user. So that brings us to our third concept, which is chunking. So let's do just a quick little review here. Type for me, please, in the chat, what are we talking about, MSC? What are the three concepts that we're covering here? And you can type all three of them, or you can do one at a time if you want to. What's M stand for? Modules, yes. Modules, start here chunking. Alyssa, thank you. All right, so now let's take a look at what that looks like in an actual course. I'm going to stop sharing, actually give you one last glance at that. MSC, modules, start here chunking. So anytime you're looking at your course, think to yourself, make a stellar course. Modules, start here chunking. All right, I'm going to close that, and we are going to go into our application screen here. I'm going to go into the Cool Academy course. If you will bear with me in just a second. There we go. Okay. And let me make sure that you all can see what I'm seeing. Great. Okay, so this is the course that we use for Cool Academy, and it is actually a full year program, and so we've got a really long course here to work with and show you some of these concepts. I'm going to start with modules. As you can see, each of these modules is a light gray, basically a rectangle that expands to include all the information that's contained therein. I'm actually going to skip the Start Here module for just a second. I'll come back to that when I'm talking about Start Here, and go down to the first one where we're actually having people do something. This is an introductions module. You'll notice that I have very consistent titling of all of the modules. We've got a number, we've got a title, we've got a due date for whatever is happening. Most of the modules set up in here are weekly. We've got one or two that actually span a few weeks, like this one, but even it is divided into stages. Okay, let's see some of the other things. Every module includes a module overview. It's short, it's sweet, but this really ties together and gives students a roadmap for what they can expect to find in that module, okay? It includes just a brief statement about kind of just to grab attention. It includes a statement of relevance. This is why it matters to the student. Why should they even be investing their time and effort in completing the activities within the module? We always want to share that, establish that relevance on the front end so that, you know, it's meaningful, and hopefully that will help them prioritize the work that they're doing. We list our module objectives. We list module activities. Anything they're expected to do, it's listed here, and it gets listed in the order both that they're expected to do it and in the order that we are presenting it within the module, okay? And then I actually often add the office hours in there as well. That one's optional for you if you do office hours, which I hope you do. Okay, so there's just a really consistent kind of look and feel. There's another module overview. I'll open that and show you. Looks very similar. They all look identical. They just have different information in there. We also use identifiers like assignment or quiz or job aid is shown here. Something that makes it easy for students to skim the materials and find exactly what they need at a given time. Now let me show you, I'm going to switch to student preview mode, and I'll show you why it's so important to order your materials within the module sequentially.
Oh, looks like she might be reconnecting. Hang tight. Yep, we're just, does anybody have any questions so far? Well, Michael said, let me see here. Wouldn't it be a nice option if the module heading located in content and module component subheadings be in the same color? That would be a good way to help create consistency and familiarize students with where they were at. I agree. I think that those visual cues are very useful for helping establish where students are within the course, and helps really bring them into the details of the content, especially when there's so much time and attention put into how this top level is presented to them as far as the modules and things like that. Does anybody have any other questions? Oh, sure she is doing her best to reconnect. Here she is.
Oh my gosh, always an adventure.
Yay!
Okay,
Kim
yay, I'm back. I'm sorry, my internet just totally died. It's back
decided
though.
to check you out early. Michael
Yeah,
had commented Wouldn't it be a nice option if the module heading located in content and module component subheadings be in the same color?
Let's, hold on a second. Let me get.
No worries.
Okay, are we back in?
You are good to go.
Great. Now, what was your question again, Erica, or comment?
Well, it was more of a comment. Michael had said, wouldn't it be a nice option if the module heading located in content and the module component subheadings be in the same color? So I'm thinking, while I had mentioned I was referring more to the course banner, or to the visual aids, the course banners there, but I'm actually not sure if maybe he meant within the Blackboard presentation, or how Blackboard is, the colors Blackboard uses by default.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
think
here we have.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Rob Langford said, I was told that using different colors in text is not ADA compliant. How is different colors in headings not the same issue?
Okay, so using different colors in text is a more complex question than simply never use colors in text, because you can use color in text and have it be ADA compliant. Same thing with headings. What you want to do with headings is make sure that whatever heading you're using is identified by a style as a heading, so that a screen reader would be able to read it and identify it as a heading. So you don't want it just to be like regular text that you've made a different color and not styled it that way. But that's getting a little bit afield from what we're talking about, and we are down to 7 minutes. So I'm going to jump back in and talk some more about why it's so important to have things in order in your modules. Okay, let me find a longer one so I can have a few pages to skip through. Okay, so we want to do it just because it makes sense in terms of how students access the information when they're looking at it. But also, because of the way Ultra works, you've got navigation arrows on each page, and each of these pages is referred to as a document in Ultra. And so to move through those document pages, you can actually navigate using arrows. So obviously, when things are in sequential order, it gives students the opportunity to go through, bless you, whoever that
Bless
was.
me, I'm so sorry. I was
backtrack if they need to through the entire instructional sequence. I swear to you, I think I lost my flow a little bit there with the internet debacle. Okay, so you put them in order, you're able to work through step by step. And then another thing about Ultra in particular is, and I mean this was true in original too, but you didn't have quite the ease of navigation. You don't have to go through it page by page. You can skip around and access different pieces of course content. Okay. I hope you have noticed through here, as we're kind of looking around, that we've got common naming conventions. We're showing due dates at the top level so people have a sense from the get-go of what they're doing. But also, just that these pages tend to be really pretty short, okay? This one's long because it's a list of group names. But in terms of the reading type content, this is a good example of the chunking that we're talking about. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Okay, Start Here module. So your Start Here module is, I essentially consider it like a deconstructed syllabus in terms of it contains all of that information that students need from the outset to be successful in the course. Okay, it gives you a place to introduce yourself, let them get to know you. If you don't have a welcome video, I highly suggest that you create one and include it. It's just a really nice touch. It's a place to give your contact information. And then we've got some pages that give sort of an overview. And again, you see they're short and sweet. This is the broad overview of the course. And then we start talking about how the course itself is structured and what they can expect in terms of a timeline. All of these things help students from the very beginning start to kind of plan out what their semester or their term or whatever amount of time they're going to be working with you. It helps them plan it out. We set engagement, terms of engagement, so these can be your expectations. We actually give a checklist. People can check off each of the participation options, and so on and so forth. And so that start here, not only is it good to get students launched from the get-go, it also is a great place for you to refer them back to when they have questions. It's available throughout the semester, and we also do include a downloadable syllabus because you do want to give students that option. It's all contained right there in the start here. Now, I want to tell you, adding a start here for you all is actually really easy because your sandbox course actually includes a start here module. And in case you don't know what your sandbox is, let me drop this into the chat.
Kim, we've got about 3 minutes.
Got about 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. That sandbox includes a course template, and that course template has a start here that includes most of what you'll need. And the micro course I'm going to share with you gives you a full list of suggestions for what to add in there. There's like about a dozen things that you would want to include in your start here. Okay, I know this is turbo. The last thing I want to talk about really quickly is just chunking. And as I mentioned, we start at the module level, which you can see each of these is more or less weekly, or in the case where it spans weeks, it's in phases or stages. And then we get down to the module level. And I'll just click through this one really quickly. Each page is really short. There's our overview. There's a short explanation with access to an assignment, a quick little quiz. Okay, so we're making the materials within the module short, sweet, scannable, and you know, if we have to break them into a couple of pages to do that and group them, we can. So, for instance, on the events of instruction, which there are 9 events of instruction. Well, 9's kind of, you know, that's a lot to hold in your brain at the same time. So we start by breaking those into 4 or 3 broad categories, and then we take one of those categories on the next page and we break it into its associated subcategories. And you can see I'm using some visual cues here with the 1 banner, the 2 banner, breaking it up by using video. So that's another excellent way to chunk material to make it easy to access. All right, so let me exit the preview here. Let me stop sharing. Let me give you the link to the micro course that I promised you.
Well, Kim is putting that up there. Does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask before we wrap things up?
Yep. Do you have any questions? Okay, so what are the 3 letters that you all are going to remember and think about as far as going forward and implementing something? Which of those of the 3 do you think would be a good starting place for you, just as you start to think about your own courses? You can feel free to just drop it in the chat. Do any of you have start here's? All right. Yes. Good. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Oh, this is great. Wonderful. Okay, so breaking courses into modules. I'm going to go just one quick minute over. Since you've seen that, I just want to show you real quickly, now that you've seen a course that's organized in modules, here's a course that's just organized into folders. And I hope you can kind of see, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. I'm sure there are good materials within these folders, but it's just there's just a little bit more work involved in terms of trying to figure out what students should be doing or where they're going. So I really think, for what it's worth, the modules are the way to go. And I hope you enjoy the course, and that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. You can find the recording of this session. The link will be sent out to all the colleges, and when the recordings are ready, and it'll be about a week or so. So if there's anything that you wanted to look over again or get some reviewed information, you'll have a chance to do that.